All right.
Welcome to Therapy Coaching and Dreams. My name is D. Kelly. This is Jim Shalley.
My name is Jim Shalley. This is D. Kelly.
Thank you. A coach and a therapist, and we enjoy talking about things relating to personality and how we grow, how we look inward to grow outward, looking back to look forward, all kinds of cute little phrases we could use.
Absolutely. Eat food to get bigger. Yep. Lots of metaphors.
This season, we have been trying to explore a little bit more how dreams fit into our growth, our insight, and fit into the model of personality that we talked about in season one. This particular podcast, Jim, I'd love to share a couple dreams I had last month. These are dreams that I haven't done a great deal of work on, but I have a few notes, and I thought,
So
just
these
to
are
get,
dreams that you've had personally? Okay.
yeah, yeah, just to get your reaction, treat me, I guess, as a friend, but also like if I'm a client coming in with this, what kind of
Okay.
questions would you have, or where might you go with this? The first one goes like this, pretty short. I was outdoors and I looked to my left and I saw my mom. She looked very nice, very classy, like she always used to be. I greeted her and noticed in her response that she was weak. She didn't necessarily look frail, but I could tell it was a bit of a strain for her to walk. And that was the end of the dream. So for the listeners, probably important to know that my mom passed away about 10 years ago. And
Has it been 10
this,
years? Wow.
yeah, has been.
Wow.
This
Amazing how fast
particular,
that goes, isn't it?
it is. Yeah, really, when I started thinking about it after the dream, that kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, my mom died in 13. It's been, 13 years now? I mean, it's wild.
Yeah. So sometimes when people have a dream about someone who's passed, every once in a while I'll have somebody talk to me and say that it felt kind of numinous, like it was almost felt like some type of visitation.
Mhm.
And I don't at all want to discount that as a possibility for people. I don't, it's kind of beyond my area of
Mhm.
understanding.
Right.
But there's enough anecdotal evidence of some fascinating things that have taken place when those things have occurred that I don't dismiss that as something in the spiritual realm that could be taking place. This one didn't feel numinous at all. It just felt like a dream that my mom was in. It felt more like a memory than a presence, kind of, if that
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, the logical first question is, what does your mom represent to you?
yeah, certainly she was the caretaker in our family. She was, in that sense, a responder. She was sensitive to the relational makeup of our family, how people stay connected. She always cared about those kinds of things. I also felt like she was, at least in some ways, the spiritual center of our home.
Okay. Okay.
And so if I think of the imprint that she left, if she represented a part of me, I would say it was probably that quiet, steady, faith-based wisdom part of me, maybe.
Yeah, does that part of you feel weak?
It's a good question. There's certainly been a shift in the last 3 years of the spiritual components of my life, kind of a shift in focus, a shift in expressiveness of that part of my journey. So it feels like there's been growth, but the connections to some of the traditional spiritual pieces of my life have become weaker, less specific.
Weaker implies something different. Less of an impact in your life or less.
So when I say weaker, I was referring to the ties to
Yeah.
the traditional
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
ways of expressing things. So in that sense, yes, less, but other things have grown more.
Right.
So probably that's a great help in terms of a wonderful question that there are parts of that spiritual focus side of my life, that is taking on, kind of a different framework, a
Yeah,
different character.
definitely
And my
the
mom
different
would
di
represent the very classic traditional approach.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, breaking away from that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. In the description of the dream, I said that she looked very classy, like she always did,
Mhm.
and classy and classical, could go hand in hand there.
Mhm.
And so I have a dream that's just kind of a snippet. Not much happens in the dream other than that I observe it. But I think that dreams have that capacity to tend to send us down a thought pathway.
Yeah.
And so my question, I guess, for myself, and I would love guidance since you know me well, the shift within me, how do I nurture that, give it freedom to grow? It,
So, articulate the shift.
so I think the shift is away from a very structured rhythm of my week, of my year, of my life.
Okay.
So the previous iteration of that spiritual side had a very weekly rhythm, a calendar rhythm.
Mhm.
It was prescriptive in that my work required some of that of me.
Right.
Now there is no prescriptive rhythm to it. And so there is, in one sense, a greater freedom, but also less clear of a specific pathway. And so maybe the thought process for me would be to reflect on, is that uncomfortable? Is it comfortable? What do I need in terms of my own growth and direction?
Yeah, I think th again, it's the continuation a little bit, isn't it, of, the initiator, where you're really having to form your own your own rhythm, not based upon externals, but upon your own desires, which I think for you is really huge as far as just, pushing yourself to write the things that you're doing in a more perhaps the same imagery of the structure, but now it's your structure. It's self-imposed, not other imposed, which I think is a big journey for all of us as far as if you have a certain, uh, personality style. Again, like an initiator would never have to worry about that because they would still do it. They'd have to build in time to kind of slow down a little bit.
Is there a part of this journey that as you move in this growth process of tapping into previously kind of pushed away parts of who you are, that there is kind of an experimental phase where you try one thing and see how it fits and then kind of react to it and pull back and then you try again. Do you see that in people often in their growth? It just doesn't feel like it's a straight line to me.
Absolutely, that's why I will use the phrase so many times, and I try to reflect on why I use it so much, but I think it makes sense, is that life's an experiment, and so let's just try it and see where it goes, and that's where they have to access kind of the transforming energy where they say, "Okay, I can hold this loosely," which is another phrase I use all the time, and I think, life's an experiment fits that mode, so let's try that. Don't lock ourselves into it. If it works, then great. If it doesn't, well, we'll try something different. And I think that's why increasing our strategies or our coping strategies is what mental health's about too. Being able to be flexible and see it differently.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Part of the joy of sharing a journey with somebody, whether it's a coach, a therapist, a spouse, a friend, mentor, a guide, is to not lose your bearings when the experiment doesn't go as you thought it was going to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
And to
Because
say,
it very seldom does.
yeah,
Because if it's an experiment, then you're open to all kinds of different ways it might go.
yeah, and to shift from, oh, that didn't go like I thought, to what do we learn from it,
Mhm.
and then to see how that leads to the next experiment that you put yourself into.
Mhm.
I think there's also some wisdom to have some guidance as to when an experiment has a lot more risk to it than other experiments, um,
Yeah, there's
because
lots of directions this conversation could go as far as
yeah,
experimenting, yeah.
yeah. I think because the initiator side, if initiating is not your go-to style, there can be a lot of discomfort when, that effort to try and tap into that side leads to hurt feelings of people you love or throws off a system that you were comfortable being in. An initiator is not as sensitive to those kinds of things and can move forward quickly. But a
Mhm.
responder has a tough time living through that result of an experiment as you grow and change.
Absolutely true, yeah. So, do you have any strong feeling about in the dream when you noticed that your mom appeared weak?
Well, the reminder to me was that I was around her a lot at the end,
Okay,
and it was in many ways, those were my final memories of her, so it's
okay,
not a surprise
that makes sense.
that she would appear that way in the dream.
So
But
how'd you feel when you were with her and she was weak?
you mean in real life?
Yeah, in real life.
Yeah. I think there was a sadness.
Especially as vibrant and as classy as she was,
Yeah.
it's always challenging to watch parents, become fragile and
Yeah.
yeah.
She was one of those individuals that aged well, and now 10 years later, as I'm getting older,
Yeah.
I think that's a nice model for me to think about, and that could be a recognition of my
So
own
what you
aging.
so what you're saying is you think you're aging well?
So, is
Okay.
that an experiment for you,
Oh,
throwing out
yeah.
phrases like that?
Oh, yeah. I'm just, yeah. I'm I'm dying well, so I don't know about that.
Yeah. So let's get this in quickly before
Yeah.
we, lose either one of us. I do sometimes think about where my parents were at this stage of my life. Like, I remember as a kid when my parents were at different key junctures, and, it makes me think, "Okay, where am I in relationship to where they were at this time in their
Oh,
life?"
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Those are great, thoughts, aren't they?
Yeah.
When my dad was turned 75, he seemed like a really old man, and we were all excited, and, you get close to that age, it's like, "Oh, okay, so he probably was pretty vibrant, actually, in his brain," so mhm.
Yeah. Let me give you one more dream. This dream was about a week after that last one, and, you're in the dream. So this will
Wow,
be
okay, it's about time we got around to me. It's,
yeah. So we've not talked to the audience about transference, so I'm not sure we need to get into any of these things. So again, this is, back in March. This is, about a month ago. I wrote down, "I'm with Shally, you." We were on a trip. I know I should have called you Dr. Shally when I wrote this in the
well,
dream.
I was offended, but I'm working through that. I went to the right, procedure in my brain and went, "Okay, that's who I am."
We're on a trip. We're ordering food and renting cars. He, referring to you, rented a black Super Sport. He is driving and he's doing 360s, spinning out. He also has another car on a remote. One of these hits a trash can that may have bumped into a car parked in a parking driveway. I get out and I move the trash can back. I don't know if I should say anything about the car in the driveway. A guy comes out from inside his home. He and Jim start in on a conversation. The home is being remodeled. Jim knew a lot about the home and expressed interest, but started listing all of the things that he would do if he were remodeling it. The guy started taking notes because he knew he had someone that might be a buyer. The end.
Oh my word. Well, because I'm in the dream, I would be much more interested in your initial view or, thoughts about this dream.
I appreciate that. It is always difficult when somebody tells you a dream that you're in. I've been on the receiving of that end of that many times. And I know that the dreamer is typically wanting some kind of reaction as if I knew anything about the dream or any of the psychodynamics that's going on inside of their head, and I don't.
Well, I woke up and I remembered I was in somebody's dream, and now I know it was your dream. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great dream. I had a great time in your dream.
Oh my goodness. So I would not expect at all for you to be on the receiving end of that without some explanation. Yeah, the immediate go-to for me is what do you represent as a part of me? So in this particular case, that part of me is doing the driving the ego, which is very interesting for me. One of many things you've represented to me in recent years has been opportunities for adventure. Um,
Yeah.
the trips that we've gone on, the climbs we've done, the trails, the four-wheel drive pathways, just wonderful adventures that are different than what most of my day in, day out
Mhm.
life involves. And so in this case, that adventurous side of me is pulling the rest of the ego along with it.
Yeah, it is.
And
Mhm.
for me, this was wonderfully positive in that it was once again stretching me and taking me places that I probably wouldn't go if I stuck in the stabilizer side of my life all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Eh,
mean, just on the surface, you're building a new house that you're interested in buying.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
creating
Yeah.
a new
New
psychological
space,
structure.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I could externalize that and say,
I might be interested in buying it as well. I'm just saying. Depending on what you create, so.
I could externalize this and say that you've got a good voice in my life about giving me ideas about how this structure takes place, which is true. And it would be easy to leave it there as a wonderful friend who has insights that I trust and wisdom that I respect. But it also is important that that gets turned inward and to say that I can trust my own wisdom
Mhm.
because that's a part of me that I can listen to the ideas that I have about how my psychological structure is reforming, my spiritual side, my outward life, becoming a reflection of that. And so this adventure that has a little bit of what's the word I want to use when you're pushing the limits a little bit um, with the two cars spinning out in one
Yeah,
car and a
no,
remote
yeah.
control of another car.
Mhm.
It putting living a little bit more on the edge of it, of trying experimenting, as you said.
Absolutely, and, uh, out of the ordinary.
Yeah,
That you're not only spinning out here, but you got a remote control thing that you're doing too. I mean, it's like multitasking in that sense. That you're able to do more things than you think.
yeah, yeah. And so stepping into that with any kind of active imagination to ask of those parts of myself, um, am I listening? Am I hearing? What are my fears? What threw me off in the dream and does it throw me off in real life? How do I reflect on those things that feel experimental in nature?
What was the feeling in the dream?
So in one sense, they're kind of two egos operating here. There's the I often think of the vehicle as being a reflection of the ego, maybe the more the
Mhm.
persona, the way you present
Right.
yourself to others.
Mhm.
But there's also then my own character in the dream, which represents the ego as well. That character in the dream was enjoying the ride, but also had this sense of responsibility that I got to put the trash can back
Mhm.
that got
Mhm.
knocked over. Do I need to say anything about the car that was in the driveway? The guys coming out of the house, do I need to be the go between? And what was wonderful was that the part of me that was adventurous stepped right into that conversation, didn't hesitate at all, started
Yeah.
asking questions, had ideas. And so I think that the dream, in part, speaks about how things are, but dreams also usually have that component of an encouragement of where to go. And I
Mhm.
think it was to trust that voice and to be relaxed that that voice is not off the rails. It knows.
Absolutely. There's really a balance between the responsibility and the experimentation,
Yeah,
which I think is it's like uh, uh, stunt people. They look like they're crazy, but they plan and prepare a lot for the events for the things that could go wrong. So it's the same thing. It's like experimenting is great, but you also need to be as aware as you can about the consequences,
yeah, yeah. The amount of hours that
which we always do when we're on those trips. We're, we're always aware of.
yeah, it's a great point and a beautiful metaphor that those people who do stunts, you don't see the hours, days, months. Some things take planning far beyond the boundaries of whatever it is that they're
Yep.
doing it for. It's just incredible to make it look like it was all spontaneous.
Absolutely true. Yep. And I think it is really, to your point, an incredible metaphor of life that you prepare really hard to have a great time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And
and
again, on the other side, there's always opportunities at time to just risk the boundaries, and you don't really think it through. That's probably that's probably my bias, is that I don't think it through when I'm backing up a trailer and there's a 6-foot drop and I didn't see it.
yeah, and I think that comes back to what for each individual person is that balance, the risk, the reward, what you lose if you don't take some of those risks. And sometimes that's okay to step away from something that you're not comfortable with yet. But I do love that in this dream, there is both an enjoyment, a caution, and then the dream ended on this note of, oh, we've got this. And that was a good feeling. Not every dream ends that way, but this one felt like it did.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate your vulnerability and sharing those dreams. Hopefully, the audience can get some help from
Yeah. Maybe you can bring some next time and we can actually dig into your life.
them.
Yeah, okay, guess not.
Okay. Okay, that's a little freaky. I can't believe you said it out loud.
Well, with that, it's a good place to stop. Jim, great to be with you.
Good
Thanks
to
for
be
your
with
help.
you. Yep, thank you.
That's it for this episode of Therapy, Coaching, and Dreams. If you're enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to follow, rate, or share it with someone who might appreciate it as well. Thanks for being here, and until next time, keep growing, stay curious, and take good care of yourself.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff.